This chart highlights a major disconnect in real estate. 66% of U.S. households own a pet, yet standard property search filters are restricted to beds, baths, and square footage. These metrics completely ignore the infrastructural needs of the animals inside them. Buyers with animals approach property tours completely differently. While other people inspect the granite countertops, pet owners run a silent secondary evaluation. They mentally map out where the food bowls can sit without blocking foot traffic and check for gaps at the bottom of the fence before they even notice the landscaping. Shopping for a home based purely on looks ignores the reality of your daily routine. An animal experiences a home as a closed habitat with specific requirements for movement and survival. Evaluating a property requires analyzing how that environment supports feeding schedules, outdoor access, and containment needs. Often, the exact details that make a listing look stunning online are the ones that create daily operational friction. Open riser staircases look sleek, but they create immediate mobility hazards for smaller animals. Deep koi ponds provide beautiful yard focal points, but they act as dangerous traps for dogs who investigate first and think later. Buyers who fail to assess these infrastructural details before closing pay for it later. Bringing an animal into an incompatible environment leads directly to damaged finishes, daily safety hazards, and expensive forced renovations to correct the mismatch. The core problem in pet-friendly real estate comes down to a direct trade-off. There is an inherent, unavoidable conflict between highly photogenic home design and the abrasive, messy reality of living with animals. Take a look at this comparison. On the left, the aesthetic dream of modern design: delicate white carpets, floor-to-ceiling glass doors, and perfectly manicured lawns. On the right is the functional reality required to manage an animal: dedicated mudrooms for wet paws, heavily secured solid fencing, and utilitarian scuff-resistant flooring. This friction routinely traps buyers. Seduced by the immaculate staging of a property, they purchase homes that require constant, exhausting maintenance to keep clean, turning their new living space into a daily battleground against their own pets. The friction hits sellers just as hard. If a seller fails to erase their pet's footprint, leaving behind faint odors or scratched door frames, they immediately alienate buyers who don't own animals. That lingering evidence gives buyers obvious leverage to negotiate the final closing price downward. A truly pet-friendly home is rarely the one that wins design awards. It is a specific, intentional set of structural compromises that prioritize durability and daily function over high-end display. For dog owners, the evaluation process has to start outside. Buyers often walk into a backyard, see an expansive lawn, and assume the space is perfect. But the illusion of a perfect backyard rarely holds up to canine behavior. A pristine, lush grass yard photographs beautifully, but if the soil doesn't drain well, it turns into a mud pit after every rainstorm. That means wiping down paws multiple times a day. Yards with a mix of paved zones and low-maintenance ground cover hold up much better to high-impact daily use. The fencing presents another strict trade-off. Invisible fences maintain beautiful, unobstructed property sightlines, but while they might keep a trained dog inside, they do absolutely nothing to stop neighborhood predators or stray animals from walking right onto your property. Moving indoors, this quadrant chart maps flooring materials based on the two things that matter most: the maintenance effort required by the owner on the bottom axis, and the safety and comfort of the pet on the vertical axis. Traditional hardwood and tile are prized for their resale value, but tile is highly slippery, creating serious joint and mobility risks for large or senior dogs. Hardwood, meanwhile, demands constant maintenance to repair the scratches left by daily pacing. The pragmatic alternative is luxury vinyl plank, or LVP. LVP is a highly durable, synthetic flooring that mimics wood. It offers far better traction for a dog's joints, while being entirely waterproof and heavily resistant to scratching. Traditional luxury materials require delicate care. Designing a home for a dog means actively rejecting those delicate surfaces in favor of materials that protect the animal's joint health and can absorb high-impact wear and tear. Cat owners face a completely different set of architectural challenges. A feline's spatial needs rely heavily on vertical architecture, like accessible windowsills, and the ability to contain the animal in specific zones. The modern trend of open-concept, loft-style layouts creates hidden hazards. Open riser staircases without solid backing can be dangerous for smaller cats or kittens, and massive, unbroken rooms leave cats without the enclosed spaces they seek out for security. This floor plan highlights the exact problem. Builders maximize primary living square footage to boost the listing price, but doing so eliminates the dedicated, low-traffic utility spaces required for litter boxes. Wide open plans make it nearly impossible to isolate a cat during a health issue or an adjustment period. If your cat requires any outdoor access, the property's location becomes critical. Proximity to busy roads, hawks, or coyotes forces you to keep the cat entirely indoors. When that happens, the home must have wide window ledges and low sills to provide necessary access to natural light. Evaluating a property for a cat requires looking past the spacious, airy appeal of an open floor plan. You have to actively seek out layouts with definable, enclosed zones and safe vertical purchase. When it's time to sell, the priorities completely reverse. The daily convenience of keeping your pet's bed in the living room must be sacrificed to meet the financial imperative of maximizing the home's market value. Sellers must execute an erasure protocol. Before the first photo is taken, every trace of the animal's existence must be completely removed from the property. This requires an immediate, upfront financial investment. Owners live with pet odors every day and stop noticing them, but buyers will smell them instantly. Sellers must pay for carpet cleaning, heavy-duty air purification, and repairs to any visible damage, like chewed baseboards or scratched door frames. Leaving minor wear and tear unaddressed sends a signal to buyers that the home has not been maintained. Non-pet owning buyers will use a scratched door frame as evidence to negotiate thousands of dollars off the asking price. And then comes the intense logistical burden. Every time a potential buyer schedules a showing, you have to immediately leash the dog, load the crate, and evacuate the home so the animal doesn't escape or stress out during the tour. Successful staging relies on the psychological impact of a clean slate. Removing pet beds, toys, and feeding stations allows a buyer to mentally project their own life into the space, rather than cataloging the evidence of your animal's routine. To secure the highest possible offer from the widest pool of buyers, sellers have to temporarily but entirely dismantle their own daily comfort. To navigate these daily trade-offs, buyers should use this pet-friendly audit scorecard. It forces you to look past the staging and categorize every feature of a home into 3 rigid columns: must-haves, compromises, and deal-breakers. Being a pragmatic buyer means accepting that achieving low daily friction requires concrete compromises. If you want a home that holds up to a heavy dog, you have to explicitly cross delicate, high-end aesthetics off your want list. It also means prioritizing control over the animal's environment. You may have to pass on an expansive, open concept in favor of a traditionally enclosed floor plan that accommodates baby gates and containment zones. The ultimate hidden deal-breaker often isn't physical at all. Homeowners associations, or HOAs, are governing bodies that dictate community rules. An HOA can enforce strict breed restrictions, weight limits, or caps on the number of animals allowed, overriding even the most perfectly designed physical property. Successfully purchasing a home with pets requires a strict shift in priorities. You have to value resilient, functional infrastructure over whatever design trends happen to look best in a magazine. For sellers, success requires the optimization mandate. The moment you list your property, it ceases to be your personal home and becomes a financial product. Your personal convenience, living with your pet, must be entirely suspended. The real estate market places buyers and sellers with pets at complete odds. Buyers are on a mission to uncover durable, functional infrastructure, while sellers are on a mission to completely hide all evidence that an animal ever lived there. A pet-friendly property is a state of constant friction. You are either sacrificing aesthetics to accommodate the animal, or you are sacrificing daily convenience to protect the aesthetics. Ignoring this friction guarantees a financial hit. Buyers who choose aesthetics over function will pay for it in post-purchase repairs, and sellers who prioritize their own convenience will pay for it through decreased property offers. To win in this market, you have to stop viewing real estate through the lens of a listing photographer. You have to start evaluating properties through the rigorous, brutally practical lens of a property manager.